Welcome to the Sack of Stats podcast. I'm Pam Maldonado with Kelly Stewart, aka Kelly in Vegas, bringing you all the analytics behind the NFL contest bets. Kelly, my girl. All I can do is shake my head. That's all I can do. I could just lay my head low, be like, you know what? We have stunk it up. Another 1-4 week, 2-8 in the last two. You know what, though? Because we did so well early in the season, we are still up overall, 19-15-1 overall. So I'm the type of person who likes to look at the glass half full instead of the glass half empty. So I'm going to chalk it up to variance. That is exactly what sports betting is. It is not a linear progression. It is not a linear decline. It is like poker where there are ups, there are downs. And right now we're just going through a bit of a down. But 2-8 in the last 2 weeks. What's going on? What's going on?
I mean, I'm a what have you done for me lately kind of girl, Pam. So I'm different than you. I'm just like, wow, this is fucking horrific. Could this be any worse? It has been a rough stretch in the NFL. I went 0-2 personally last week. You know, the last 2 weeks with best bets, now we talked about how my best bets have done, since we've been friends, done pretty well, as have yours. I think I'm just really frustrated because at the end of the day, I'm just not getting the correct result. Right. And that's what's frustrating me the most, sitting down and watching these games. 2 weeks ago, just wanting to chuck my phone out on the interstate while Grandma and I were watching the Saints game as I was taking her home. We're watching the second half. I've got it on the thing. I'm driving, obviously, but she's kind of giving me the play-by-play. It was playing through the speakers, and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, that's not how I want to feel on Sundays. I want those nice, easy, I mean, I'm kind of like usually tired on Sundays. It's just my day of relaxation. It's not my day to want to break a television. And that's what the last 2 weeks have been for me. They've been really, really frustrating. And, the field goals that have been tried to be kicked, the Saints 2 weeks ago, not to get into too much, settled for 3 field goals. That's why they lost that game. The Broncos are out there strutting out McManus when they should be going for it on 4th and 1. Like, these are the type of things that you cannot handicap. You cannot, not celebrating an injury, obviously, but you can't predict that Breece Hall is going to go down, even though that was good for my Broncos bet because he was absolutely carving them up. We talked about luck. We've talked about other things. But all you can do is live to bet another day. As you mentioned, we still are up on the season. It's not like we've completely decimated our bankrolls because I know you, like myself, are much more of a college bettor. I went 5-1 on Saturday. I still was 5-3 on the weekend, but it is that frustrating end to your week. And that's the NFL. I mean, a lot more comes into play in the NFL than it does with college because of the variance that is between the college teams. It is really, truly more of an any given Saturday. In the NFL, there's not a lot of parity between 1 and 32. Yes, 32 is the worst team. Yes, 1 is the best team. But we've seen it happen so many times. We just saw the Bears waltz in on Monday night into Foxborough and beat the Patriots.
Right.
It's going to happen, and we're just going to kekeep trucking through.
Yeah. My best bets have also been going through a bit of up and down for both college and for NFL. For college, I keep for just football period. My best bets, coincidentally, are just going through a bit of a rut when it comes to quarterback health. And my best bet for K-State, they were crushing there for a little while. Second string comes in, still crushing. Third stringer comes in, it's over. And so I had a bit of that luck with college. And then with NFL, I'm picking, a Miami Dolphins team that can't keep its quarterback upright. So then it's in and out of which quarterback's going to play. So I think you can start to think of in the future of, is a team more prone to injuries or not? But then also, you can't always think like that. It's like living in fear of like, I can't go outside because it might rain today. Like, you can't.
I can't bet on this just in case my quarterback gets hurt. I mean,
exactly.
That's unfortunately in the name of the game. You're right. And you can't handicap that. You can't handicap not only Adrian Martinez going out, that Will Howard, who was supposed to be the starter because he was, played a little bit behind Skyler the last couple of seasons. You're texting me, I'm at a concert, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, I walked into the concert, it was 28-10, Pam. I thought that K-State bet was all but golden. And I still believe you had the right side. I still believe that you just got the wrong result, whether you said it was luck or whether it was anything. I don't think it was any fault to Pam's handicapping. And once you kind of realize that you got to take the good with the bad. Last year, I was extremely lucky. I know that I had an incredible college football season. That luck is not carrying over into this season. And that's just because the ball's not always going to bounce your way. You're not always going to be on the right side of the flag. You're not always going to be on the right side of the injury bug. And you take it for what it is and you move on to the next week.
I do think that one of the reasons why this year could be a little bit more volatile for not just NFL, but for college, just football in general, is because we have a couple of things going on this year that we haven't. One, we had the COVID situation for almost 2 seasons straight, 2020, 2021. So data is skewed. They didn't have as many games, a full schedule as we're used to seeing college teams have. For NFL, there is a lot of they had to do road testing. COVID situation definitely came into play over the last couple of seasons. This is the first season in the last 3 where it really hasn't been an issue. So we're getting a whole bunch of different type of data sets. And then number 2, I think NFL is a lot more variant because it's an equal playing field. There's really only the Bills and then everybody else. We don't really have dominating offenses, dominating defenses. Everyone's just kind of in the middle of the pack. And so it makes for a lot more variance because the Bears can beat the Patriots on a Monday night. It's that type of situation. So I think because of that it's more of an equal playing field this year compared to maybe seasons past. Well, we're going to get a lot more.
And we've seen a lot of dogs cashing, particularly those divisional dogs. A lot of those divisional games are also going under the number, which is interesting as well. So there's a lot going on here to kind of unpack, Pam, but I'm going to not take it personally, and keep doing what I'm doing, maybe adjust or over adjust a little bit here and there and see if we can't find ourselves some winners.
I typically don't get a lot of negativity on social media. I truly don't. I'm very fortunate, knock on wood. But I did get a DM last week that said, "You suck." And I gave him the whole thumbs up. I don't know what to do with that. I know, cool. I'm sorry. I keep record. You have my record on display. I share it with everybody. I'm very open about my wins. I'm very open about my losses. And then I ended up actually cashing with the Patriots game and the Bears and said, because I took the over, he sent me another DM, a follow-up DM that said, "You still suck." And I'm just I win a bet, I suck. I lose a bet, I suck. I can't win.
There's multiple reasons why my DMs are closed. But some of those are really funny. I always appreciate when famous people will screenshot their DMs or other people that I work with will do it. And some of it is just so absolutely and utterly ridiculous that this stranger hiding behind some weird avatar took 10 minutes out of their day to write something horrific to somebody else. At least for me, if they're going to do it, they have to do it in a public forum where I can retweet it or I can berate them back or come back with the facts. I know you think I suck, but I'm still 9-7-1 on the NFL season. No, I'm not making money, but I'm not losing money either. So there's your answer. Not this, you work for a sports book, so you purposely give out losers. That's my most comical, I guess, insult or whatever they think they're doing. What are you talking about? Trust me. If I knew the result before the game and was purposefully giving out losers, let's talk through this, guys. Yeah. So it's kind of funny.
There's 2 more things that I want to say before we carry on. And one of those things is, I know one of the critiques that I've received is you talk a lot about NFL and you don't even bet NFL. First off, I'm in multiple contests for the NFL. So I'm considering that my wager. I have to pay a dollar amount in order to enter these. They're not cheap. So why am I double dipping? I'm already paying X amount to enter the contest. I don't want to play X amount on a sports bet because essentially that is my bet. I'm submitting 5 picks every week for these contests. I've already done my entry. That's my cost. Now, if I feel like I'm doing well, then I'll go ahead and proceed to doing my best bets, which I was doing, and they were doing well up until now. So that's why I don't really wager too much on the NFL because I've already paid for it in a different way. And then 2, yeah, we're kind of stuck right now. we're going to try, me and you, we're going to come together and we're going to try to finish out the season strong. We're only halfway into it. It's only 2 bad weeks. We still have 8 other weeks. Like, there's still so much football left. So all we can do is continue on what's been working, talk it through, and see what we can produce from there. So with that being said, a reminder of what it is that Kelly and I are doing is we're making 5 against the spread contest picks each week in the NFL. Automatically in is Kelly's best bet. Automatically in is my best bet. They've been in a bit of a slump. Sure, we're doing really well. She's 4-3, mine are 4-3, but together we're coming up with the other 3. Kelly, your best bet. Stinkfest. What is it?
Yeah, okay. So I sent you a pretty long list this week. So I don't want to say I hate this week's card. I just don't love anything in this week's card.
Okay.
And I mentioned my strategy last week was I was back and forth on a couple of different ones, both of which lost. So it didn't matter regardless of which one I chose as the best bet. But I said, I'm going to take the Broncos because I know I can't talk Pam into this one. And that's why I'm taking the Packers. This is gross. This is disgusting. I want nothing to do with this bet. And that's why I have to do it. I have to do it. This is why I have to do it. So I'm going to say a couple of different things, but the bottom line is I like to look at August numbers, right? I'm like, okay, let's look and see what this line was in August. This line in August was Bills minus 3.5.
Wow.
Josh Allen. Yes, he is awesome. I love what he's able to do with this offense. We know that this man has his eye, and as well as his teammates, on the Lombardi. But you have Aaron Rodgers in a primetime game who averages over 3 touchdowns in those said games in his last 12 primetime appearances. I do believe we're going to need to get the running game going, which is something that Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon have not done over the last few weeks. Right. And that is the frustrating part with this Green Bay team. That being said, this line is so far out of control, my head is spinning around like The Exorcist. I made this game 7.5, Pam. So when it came out at 11, I'm like, okay, is this just going to be a pure plug your nose, close your eyes, wear a freaking Halloween mask when you walk up to the betting window? And that's what this is. Bottom line, I know the Packers are having struggles. I gave this out yesterday as my best bet on one of the wager talk shows I do. And Prez, who is, well, the host of the show, we'll leave it at that. I love him, but he likes to combat me on different things, and I appreciate it. And he said, well, didn't you hear what Aaron Rodgers said? And I'm going, no, I didn't hear what Aaron Rodgers said. What do you mean? I missed this. So I'm scouring the internet trying to figure out where Aaron Rodgers said that they thought they should get blown out on Sunday. It's not the case. Aaron Rodgers, no one is going to give us a chance going to Buffalo on Sunday Night Football with a chance to get exposed. Shoot, this may be the best thing for us. Now, you can take that a couple of different ways. Does that mean he wants his team to get exposed and he wants the front office to have a fire sale? Maybe, but that's not how I took it. Aaron Rodgers, while we know he's being a little weird lately, while we know he's been a little cocky lately, while he's had some indiscretions that we can either agree on or disagree on, he still has a winning mentality. This is just the point that I'm trying to make. At the end of the day, we're betting numbers, not teams. Right. And as bad as the Packers have looked, and I was at that Bucs game last night that everybody said Tom Brady couldn't lose 3 straight. Well, he did. Could Aaron Rodgers' team lose 4 straight? Absolutely. Are they going to lose in a horrific fashion? I don't think so. These primetime games have been going under the total. I could easily see this being a 21-17 type of game where either the Packers come through the back door or something wonky happens because the whole world's going to be on the Bills, and I don't blame them. The casual bettor wants to bet on good teams, and that's the gross part, Pam. I joined you on Monday night with the Bears. I'm in a group chat with Ariel Epstein, who you work with. Our buddy Adam said, I like the Bears tonight, and Ariel goes, damn it, you and Pam like the Bears. She had played the Patriots in Survivor. And I chime in like a complete and utter jackass. And I said, I don't think they're going to beat them outright. You'll be fine. But I did join you guys. And I couldn't believe how shocking it was. It truly is this not massive top to bottom here. Like everybody had just written off the Bears, but they were able to get the best of a team. We've seen this Bills team traditionally on the road, though, go in and lose to some team they weren't supposed to lose to. Now, At home is kind of a different story, but I am going to take Aaron Rodgers in prime time here, plus the double digits. I cannot believe this line has ballooned this far out of control.
Good luck, us.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I think it's disgusting.
I just think so. You create your own spreads, right? You said I have this number at 7. So there's something that you do to create your own spread, correct?
So full disclosure, one of the things I learned a long time ago is there's a lot of guys that I'm friends with that have been doing power ratings for years. And I tried to kind of develop my own, and it got to the point where A, I wasn't good enough at it, but B, I was spending a significant amount of time. And so now what I do to start the season is I have 3 different guys that share their NFL power ratings with me, and 2 that I really trust in college, and I'm able to manipulate them for myself throughout the course of the season.
Okay. So my question is, when creating these lines, and this is just for my general knowledge because I don't create lines, I have no idea. People always ask me, well, what do you think the line should be? I have no idea. The book is telling me what the line should be, and that's what I go off of. Do you think you are, or your people are, either not undervaluing the Packers enough, like you haven't downgraded them enough because maybe they really are just that bad, or not giving more value to the Bills, maybe they are that good? Like, can either be true?
Absolutely. And this is the thing, when you do use your own power ratings or you buy them from somebody else and create your own from them, right? I think that there is a lot of personal opinion that can go into them. I personally, Pam, don't ever want to overreact to what I saw last week. And we've spoken about this on the show over the last 2 years. That's why I do like those look ahead lines from the books.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I literally saved that graphic from one of the books in Vegas. And I was like, ooh, I know I'm going to need this at some point in time this year. It's week 8 and it's the first time I've used it. And I love the Warren Sharp Bible you have right there. Mine is a little bit out of reach, but it also sits right on my desk because there is some really incredible stuff that Warren is able to break down. I mean, I bet he spends. Yeah, 4, exactly, per Warren. And Warren does an excellent job of his power ratings as well. And I actually probably should DM him and say, hey, like, do you have an updated set from what you've started the season with, right? Versus going there. I do want to backtrack though on one thing you said. The bookmakers put out their line, and so that's what the line is. I sometimes disagree with that. Not all the time. I do sometimes, particularly in the NFL, think that there are trap lines that the bookmakers put out there, right? Whether it's shaded just a little bit, and we've talked about those 5.5 point lines several times, whether they decide to go with, particularly in this contest that you and I are in, do they go with the 3 with the Browns, or do they go with the 3.5? Because they know people are going to take the Bengals anyway. So let's add that extra hook just to see on how people are going to overthink that line. So I do think that there's some interesting thought processes there as well.
Well, interesting. I can't wait for this because I didn't think about what the look at headline was. And it's your best bet. Packers 11.5. It's gross. We love it. It's on our card. That's it. That's all. I have no rebuttal. My best bet is going to be Washington +3 at the Colts. And for me, this is really freaking easy. I am a Texas alum. There is no team that I know more about than Texas. And Sam Ehlinger is now the quarterback for the Colts. He is getting his first career start. He was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in all of college football every damn season. He was top 20 in, like, what was it? From 2018 to 2020, he had been sacked a total of 93 times in his college career. This is why he had a broken back. He had a injured thumb. He hurt his ankle. His head hurt. Concussions. Why? Because he was the most sacked quarterback in all of college. He was top 20 in sacks every year that he played and started. Washington's defense is top 10 in sacks right now with defensive tackle Jonathan Allen. He missed last week's contest against Green Bay. Washington was only able to put up 1 sack. He was not in the lineup. He's in the lineup this week. He is going to feast on Sam Ehlinger. Let's not forget that Matt Ryan was sacked. He was the most sacked quarterback in the NFL right now. And so now you're going to have this terrible offensive line that not only can't protect its quarterback, but it also does a terrible job of run blocking because running back Jonathan Taylor, He's supposed to be like King Henry 2.0, and this season he is in a shithole of a situation, averaging only 4.2 yards per carry. Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the league, has only one rushing touchdown, and it's because this offensive line. Now, I know that the offensive line is also susceptible for Washington, but we already know what to get from Taylor Heinicke. He was also sacked a lot last season. He can definitely scramble, but for me, you're getting 3 points in a division rival game where Sam Mellinger is getting his first start and you're making him a favorite against with this offensive line against this pass rush. I'm not going to overthink it. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, great. But I know Sam Ellinger and I want to believe that he is a great quarterback because I actually follow, and I don't really follow too many people on Instagram, but I follow a lot of like fitness people and one of us strength and conditioning coaches specifically. And so like me, the strength and conditioning coach for Army, I follow anyway. The whole point is to say that Sam Ellinger's private coach to help him become the better quarterback that he is or could be. I follow him, Bobby Stroop, and he's one of my favorite people, and he's so smart, and he has made Patrick Mahomes what Patrick Mahomes is now. Ellinger's not Mahomes. Let's just start with there. So until I prove it to me first that Ellinger is an improved quarterback from college, until then, you're just better known to me as the guy who got sacked a lot. So that's what I'm rolling with. What do you think?
I love it. The commies were on my list as well. I think that Heinicke should have been probably brought in a couple of weeks ago. But when you pay a lot of money for Carson Wentz, which I don't understand, on the flip side, you've got the Colts who have had 11 quarterbacks since Peyton Manning left. 11. Like, what is Frank Reich supposed to do with that? What is he honestly supposed to do? You guys run this quarterback carousel. You mentioned the O-line is absolute liability. I'm with you here 100%, especially if the Colts can't get the running game going. It's game over.
Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe Jonathan Taylor absolutely goes off, and maybe Ellinger ends up becoming the exact quarterback that everyone is talking about him to be. I need to see it first, and this is just not the defensive line. This is not the defensive pass rush unit that I want to see him go up against in his first start. So those are the two bets that we have automatically locked in: is Packers plus 11.5 at the Bills, and then Washington plus 3 at the Colts. I especially like the 3 because for the other contest it's 2.5, and for this contest it's 3. So extra.
Love it.
Maybe a chance for a push at the worst. Okay, so some other games that we have on deck. There is okay, my phone all of a sudden froze on me.
No comment. I feel like there's an Android joke in there somewhere.
No, it's my phone is I have so many photos in it that it's slowing it down. I need to upload them into the cloud. Okay, so starting first with your list. There was one game. We'll just go down through the list of options. Okay. It's not on your list, but I did want to talk about it. It is the Cardinals plus 3.5 at the Vikings.
Yep.
You always constantly hear Minnesota has the best home field. They haven't had the best home field in some time. They are 1-2 against the spread at home this season. They are 3-4 against the spread as a home favorite in the last 2 seasons. We just haven't really seen them be as good as they used to be like 3-4 years ago. But this year at home, the Vikings have a 4-point win over the Lions, a 3-point win over the Saints, and a 7-point win over the Bears. Now the Vikings defense gets to face Kyler Murray with DeAndre Hopkins, who, yes, indeed, makes Kyler a better quarterback. It is only a 1-game sample size this season, but last week, Kyler had a 69% completion, 7 yards per pass attempt. That's his best of the season because Hopkins was back in the lineup. He had over 100 receiving yards, 10-yard average. Minnesota's defense is allowing 7.3 yards per passing play. That is 30th in the league. It is that bad of a defense against some of the worst quarterbacks. You had a broken Aaron Rodgers in week 1. You had Jared Goff, Andy Dalton, Justin Fields, Teddy Bridgewater, and Skylar Thompson. You're this bad in the secondary, facing far less competitors. I still put Kyler Murray up there. We know that he can sling it. He was just missing his binky in Hopkins. Well, now he's back and he is a better quarterback. And you know who tells me that he's a better quarterback with Hopkins? Warren Sharp. He has an entire chapter dedicated to how much better Kyler Murray is with Hopkins in the lineup. And the Vikings defense allows the most red zone touchdowns in the league. I mean, I don't know what the hook is, I guess, scary, sure, but I'm just going off of what I know, and what I know is they haven't played anybody.
Well, it's not, how do I say this? So a long time ago, Pam, I used to do Vikings radio, right? So that's where I kind of got on this like Mike Zimmer train and started like really following this team. This team is horrific after a bye. Horrific. They do not care about covering games, let alone winning games for whatever reason. And now maybe the culture will change this year with O'Connell. That could be something that is changed because Coach Zimmer is no longer the head coach. But this team comes out flat after the bye every single time. You mentioned that mediocre pass rush, or excuse me, pass defense, I should say. I do think Murray's going to be able to air it out here. I like them in this spot. The reason why I didn't send it to you is because I made this game 6. And so when I saw it open and I said, okay, let's see how this comes to fruition. And then I'm going 3.5. Well, Cardinals 8-0 against the spread as away dogs over the last 2 seasons. I do lean towards that side. We will see if Cousins doesn't turn the ball over. I definitely think the Vikings will win this game, but we know that he has tendencies to have bad Kirk games. Maybe it comes after the bye. This isn't a game that I love or like one way or another, but I do have the slight lean here towards the Cardinals.
Minnesota 2-4 against the spread after a bye, and you're talking about that number of 6. Well, let me see what Warren had this game spread at. Now I'm so curious.
Now I actually am going to look at that chart to see what it was preseason.
They had Cardinals as a favorite -1.
There you go.
And now you're getting 3.5. Hello. So, okay, something to consider. That can be an option.
Yeah, absolutely.
One game that was on your list that I also agree with is Cowboys -9.5 at home to the Bears. Dallas is forcing 5.9 sacks plus takeaways each game. That is the most in the league. The Bears are allowing 5.4 sacks plus turnovers per game. That is the second most in the league. When Dallas has pressured the opposing passer, they are 29 of 75. That is 38%. Passing for only 111 yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And those passers have taken 28 sacks on the dropbacks. Now you get Justin Fields. I was on Justin Fields last week. I got it, but I think it was a rain situation. New England had, your defense is going to wear out because mid-game, Belichick decided to switch quarterbacks. So that's always going to like change things. It's going to change the dynamic of a team, not just of an offense. But Dallas is the best defense in the league right now. Has only allowed 27 yards rushing to Jalen Hurts 2 weeks ago. They lost that game 26-17, but Philly was an offense unlike the Bears. That was a big difference in that matchup. They did, however, allow 79 rushing yards to Daniel Jones back in week 3. They won that game by 7, though that was on the road. Now you're getting them at home. Justin Fields was sacked 9 times in his last 2 games, and in those games, he produced 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The difference for him is now he's using his legs more. He's rushed for 170 yards combined. But the Chicago defense, they are 3rd best against the pass, but 29th against the run. My question mark here is running back Ezekiel Elliott. He did not practice on Thursday, so it's looking like he's unlikely to play. So my question becomes, is Tony Pollard enough? He is averaging 5.6 yards per carry and 9.5 yards per catch. It is 1 game sample size, but in 1 game where Pollard played without Zeke, he turned 18 touches into 132 yards for 2 scores. Now, yes, I believe that Tony Pollard is a better running back than Ezekiel Elliott, but I was super unimpressed with Dak Prescott as quarterback again against the Lions. So the 9.5 at home. What do you think?
I'm with you. That's actually one of the games I put my hard-earned dollars on. I bet Cowboys -9 on Monday, or excuse me, on Tuesday, because what did we see Monday night, Pam? The Bears waltzed right into Foxborough, got the best of not only 1, but 2 of Bill Belichick's quarterbacks. Listen, they were able to run the ball really, really well. And that's not something I'm sure they're going to be able to replicate against this Dallas defense, though at times Dallas has given up some yards on the ground. But I'm with you. This Dallas defense is clicking on all cylinders. I made this game, let me see. I made this game 31-17. So as far as I see it, it's a easy cover for the Cowboys. Whether it ends up being easy or not remains to be seen. But I do think that this is going to be a very easy bet for somebody to waltz right up and say, well, I know what I saw last, and that was the Bears beating the Patriots. They can beat the Cowboys too. Cowboys don't have a great home field advantage, and that's my one concern here, because obviously Foxborough does. But if you take the wind out of their sails, it gets pretty quiet in most NFL stadiums, as I heard personally last night. It gets real quiet, and people like to leave early. It's not like a college game. I always find that very interesting. College games you rarely see, unless some teams getting blown out, people leaving early. And it's mid-fourth quarter, Tampa, and people are just looking like, oh, they already saw the writing on the wall. So I do think that Dallas's defense will be able to keep the crowd in this one, and they will prevail. It's 9.5 in the contest, correct?
Yeah. You never take big spreads, so I'm surprised that you actually have a ticket on this one.
Yeah.
Was there any line? I don't check lines until the contest comes out on Wednesday. Was there an adjustment in this spread from opening to after the Bears won to the Patriots?
I do not believe so. Let me double check that though, Pam, because I did not.
That also is very indicative of like how much respect is being given to the Bears for their upset win over the Patriots.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people are giving, well, let me say, bookmakers wise, are giving a lot of respect. And that's okay, because the big thing that the bookmakers do is exactly what you and I just spoke about. And that is, you don't overreact to what you saw last. And that is something that the general public does. So it's always very interesting to me in terms of, where do we see an overreaction in the marketplace? Let's see, week look ahead lines here. Nope, that is week 9 look ahead. Sorry, I got to keep scrolling back, see if I can figure out where this is, because I know I just saw it a couple of days ago and I blew right past it thinking it did not matter.
Well, would you like to add the Cowboys in the interim?
Yes, please.
Great. So another option, you liked the Browns plus 3.5, and I actually I do like the Bengals. So just so we can briefly touch up on it, the line saw no movement after Jamar Chase was announced out.
That's very interesting too. And that was
me that I think that the Bengals is still the right side.
I can see that. I have a slight lean towards the Browns. You know me, I'm a sucker for those primetime home dogs, Pam.
No, and I agree. I would too, was also leaning towards the Browns early on, but then the reason why I continue to back the Bengals and why I trust the Bengals more is because the Bengals, even with Jamar Chase, it is because of the defense. The Browns are allowing the highest rate in the league for offensive plays from inside the red zone. The Bengals are top 3 in scoring from that. But defensively, Cincinnati continuously, week after week, is the best second half defense in the NFL. They have given up essentially 0 points in the entire third quarter through half of the season already. They're the second best behind only the Bills, allowing an average of 3.9 points total in the second half. They have allowed only one team to score more than 3 points. You know who that team was? It was the Ravens, and it was 3 field goals. So I don't think that Jacoby Brissett is equivalent to that of a Lamar Jackson, even though they have like one of the best running back groups. It's just, if they are from a play from behind situation, you're not going to get those points in the second half. So that's the only reason.
I think the big thing is too, is Cincinnati just has been on an absolute tear. And sometimes I'm okay with stepping in front of those freight trains. Other times, not so much. I think the only way Cleveland can win this game is obviously slowing it down, right? They can dictate the tempo. They can somehow hold this Bengals offense, which, as I said, I think it's the last 4 games, they've just been on a tear. I think they have covered 5 straight. You got to give the ball to Chubb to slow that off, just to speed up your offense, but control that time of possession. But they do have that two-headed monster in the backfield with Kareem Hunt as well. But I think in between those two, you get 25 carries, you grind that clock, you keep your defense off the field and give them a break, then that will essentially carry over into the Bengals not getting the cover. These divisional home dogs, like I said, I'm just a sucker for, and it's almost like on principle with 3 in the hook that I have to take it. Now, I haven't bet it just yet. So it's kind of one of those, Nah, we'll see what happens Monday night. Kind of like last Monday where I got talked into taking the Bears, where I wasn't planning on getting involved. But, when a couple people made a case for it, they said you were on it. I was like, all right, fine. I need a reason to watch this game.
Well, since we were opposite, we'll go ahead and leave that one off. So another option could be you did like the Saints plus 1.5 at home to the Raiders. I don't feel strongly about this one, I'll be honest. And it's because I see this being a high scoring game. And because there are more points in play, then the more points, the more volatility when it comes to the spread, especially in something that's a 1.5. But in 7 games, and the reason why I like this to be high scoring, which makes it a coin flip for a 1.5 spread, is in 7 games, the Saints have allowed 6 teams to hit their implied game total. That means they are letting every team put up points against them. That is bad news when the Raiders are scoring on 54% of the drives. That is the highest rate in the league. Good for the Saints, however, is that the Raiders have allowed 15 of 20 red zone possessions to be touchdowns. That's the third highest rate in the league. So both of these teams are going to be giving up points. Andy Dalton, he's been a fine quarterback, I think, for the Saints. 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's good for him, though, is that the Raiders have no pass rush. Raiders are forcing only 2.2 sacks plus takeaways. That is the fewest in the league. What I don't like about Dalton is that he had 3 interceptions last week against Arizona, who also has no pass rush. So it's just a matter of which Dalton are you going to get?
You nailed it. And that's my problem, is that the Raiders don't create turnovers, but maybe this is a get right game for the Raiders defense, because when you play Andy Dalton, you get turnovers. And they're a frustrating team. I tease them, full disclosure. I teased them with the Bucks on Monday, so got half of that there. I don't love anything this week, as I've said. They were just on a long list of absolute potential teams that are going to break my heart once again.
Well, then let's move it along to the 49ers. Something you do like is 49ers minus 1.5 at the Rams. I agree with you on this one. The 49ers are 7-1 against the Rams with Jimmy G as a starting quarterback. San Fran's defense, this is the reason why I love them in this spot, is because they are number 2 in sack percentage, and you get Matthew Stafford behind an offensive line that has given up 22 total sacks. That is the bottom 5 in protection in the league. Center Brian Allen, he's still on the injury list, so he's coming into this game potentially a little banged up. Stafford in his last 4 games has only thrown 2 total touchdowns. They are coming off a bye, however, so that's potentially where they get a little bit healthier. Maybe they try to fix some of the things on offense, but you're still going up against San Francisco's defense. All of the players that produced a sack, which is 7 to Stafford in the first game, are active in this game. They are healthy in this game. What else do you like about... We just talked about it last week, though, that it's really hard to beat a team twice in the NFL.
It is.
So they already romped them once. Why are we back them again?
I think that this is the week, because we're in the middle part of the season, right? Where we start seeing some wild discrepancies in what we thought the lines were going to be in the beginning of the year. And this is just a buy low spot for me, Pam. I normally would be on the Rams. I'd be looking towards this Rams team. They should be 2.5 point favorites according to the look ahead line. Yet they trotted right out there. They lost to the Niners lost to the Falcons, and then they just got blown out by Kansas City. Yet they lined it at 1.5. They lined it at 1.5. This is a Niners defense that I really like. As you mentioned, they held the Rams at 257 yards, 2 turnovers in San Francisco when these guys played last. So I do like the Niners here. Full disclosure, I do have the Rams in a teaser. I think this is going to be a close game, but I think the Niners can win this one by a field goal.
So just to further along some Rams, this is 31st in the league in points per drive in the first half of games. The Rams have just 15 plays of gaining 20 yards or more. That is tied for the fewest in the league. Rams running backs have had a first down or a touchdown at the lowest rate in the league, and they are averaging a league low 4.7 yards per play on first or second down. All of those offensive troubles going up against the number 3 defense in San Francisco. Now, we have seen Jimmy G lay a complete dud, so he can have multiple turnovers, and this is how the Rams get back in.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know if they're going to let Jimmy G open it up. You got Deebo Samuel. You got George Kittle. You now have Christian McCaffrey. Run the ball, open up the offense, dink and dunk down the field, and let your defense come to play. You win. That's how you win these games.
You want to lay in 49ers then?
I do.
Let's do it. Okay, great. So another option that you liked that I also do like is the Texans plus 2.5 at home to the Titans. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill, he was limited on Thursday, so it is yet unknown as to whether he's going to play unless you have some information that I haven't caught up on. But this is more so for me a play on the Titans secondary. Houston does have 4 losses. Nobody pays attention to Houston Texans.
At
Nobody.
all.
I promise you that. But in 6 games, 4 of those games have been on the road. They're coming off back-to-back road games. Quarterback Davis Mills. It's a very small sample size, but in his 2 home games, Mills has thrown for 68% completion. He has 6.8 average, and he has 4 passing touchdowns. He's been a pretty fine quarterback at home and now going up against one of the worst secondaries in the league. The Titan secondary is 31st in passing yards allowed, and they're 29th in opponent yards per pass attempt. I do like the Texans more for a teaser option.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Titans do have the best third down defense. But Houston defense is allowing nearly 6 yards per carry on first down. That's 31st. So that's a little worrisome. And now you got to face Derrick Henry. So it's really going to be Derrick Henry against Davis Mills. Which one wins?
You know me. I like the under in this game. I like points to be at a premium in this game. This looks like a terrible AFC South matchup. Just disgusting. It looks like it could be. Well, actually, I take that back. It says the over is 10-1 in the last 11 meetings.
Against the Steelers. Wow.
Oh, wow. I wasn't expecting to see that stat pop up on my screen. Wow. But yes, I do have my concerns with Houston being able to stop the run here. They are a great teaser spot. This is one of those sandwich spots, if you will, right? You've got Tennessee coming off that big win. And now you just got to go beat Lovie Smith's team, right?
I really wish this game was like 3.5.
Oh, of course I do. But I'm going to tell you, I wonder if it's because Tannehill isn't going to play. I haven't heard anything other than he is still questionable.
Yeah. He's questionable, but he was limited on Thursday, so I don't know what that means. Not that Tannehill is necessarily. I mean, actually, he's been a pretty fine quarterback too. We could pencil this in.
Let's pencil it in. They do have. Oh, here we go. This is what I was looking for. Off a big win over the Colts. They have the Chiefs on deck for Sunday Night Football, and that's kind of what I was looking at here. Was a look ahead spot. Sorry, I had to double check that. My brain just kind of forgot about it momentarily. But yes, Chiefs on deck is going to be a rather interesting one. And so maybe Tannehill won't be utilized because they want to keep him healthy.
That would make sense. So yeah, we could definitely pencil that in. There's a couple more games that I want to talk through. It's Patriots minus 2.5 at the Jets. And this one is pretty simple for me. You have Jets quarterback Zach Wilson without his binky. It's Zach Wilson under pressure. He has completed 5 of 31 passes for 54 yards. 1.7 yards per pass attempt with 2 interceptions. Zach Wilson is the worst quarterback in the NFL. He doesn't belong here. I'm going to be that rude to the Jets fans. I am sorry. Come at me.
Pam, you know, I've gotten a lot of hate in my mentions lately. I know you said you don't get a lot, and they're like, stop betting against the Jets. Why do you hate the Jets so much? I'm like, I don't hate the Jets. I just realized it's because of you. They watch the show, and then I'm guilty by association. This is a total bylaw. I love it. I mean, I agree with everything you said.
When before he was drafted, I said he should not go in the first round. He is not a good quarterback. You saw him just completely clam up and be horrendous against Coastal Carolina. I had been touting through the rooftops how terrible under pressure Zach Wilson is, and now finally the world is catching up. So whatever. But the Jets are averaging 24 yards per drive since Zach Wilson has returned. That is 31st in the league. 28% of his pass attempts have resulted in a first down or a touchdown. That is ahead of only Davis Mills and Baker Mayfield. But the defense looks really good, and this is why people are banking on the Jets, is because they have a really good defense as of late. Okay, but you've also really benefited off of opposing quarterback luck. I'm talking about losing quarterbacks in these games. They have played a second or third string quarterback in each of their wins. You played against Pitt, who had a mid-game quarterback switch from Trubisky to Pickett. That's never going to go well for you. They faced against the Dolphins, who had a third-string quarterback in Skylar Thompson. You faced Aaron Rodgers, who everybody is beating Aaron Rodgers right now, 4 sacks against him. And you played the Broncos, who had a quarterback that hadn't started since October of 2020. So how good is this defense for the Jets really? And I'm not really going to put a lot of situation into what we saw from Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi last week against the Bears on a Monday, because the Patriots still are a better team. There was rain in that situation. They had that quarterback switch midway. I mean, but during that time span, Zach Wilson in those 4 games, Zach Wilson has 120 yards in back-to-back games, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 8 sacks. This is an offense that was relying solely on running back Breece Hall. He's gone. They brought in James Robinson. It's yet to be determined if he's going to be replaced. Breece Hall was a stud. He was so good. I don't know if James Robinson's going to be able to replicate what Breece Hall was doing for this Jets offense.
I don't think he will be able to. And I mentioned that this is a perfect week for a bunch of buy low spots. This is a total buy low spot on the Patriots. I've told you before, I hate laying road chalk, especially in divisional games, but I'm going to do it. This is a play on the Pats. Bill Belichick off a loss. Yes, Mac Jones is going to be the starter, but I don't think that there's much of a drop-off between Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi that we've now seen. I'm going with Bill Belichick, laying the points. I bet against the Jets last week for everything that you just said, and they got the best of the Broncos in an absolute and utter ugly, disgusting game.
And if the Jets defense really is as good as it is, we're going to find out in this game, sure. So I could either wait for a game to see if it is really good and see maybe bet on the Jets next week. But this is really just banking on that Zach Wilson is going to get smashed with this pass rush from.
Oh, did you see that also their best offensive lineman?
And their best offensive line. Exactly.
Vera Tucker tore a bicep. I missed that in that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So not only is the Jets losing their best playmaker in Breece Hall, but they also lost their best offensive lineman in Vera Tucker, both out for the season.
Remember how much I love those divisional home dogs? Guess who the worst divisional home dog in the league is? The Jets. 3-13 against the spread in their last 16 divisional home games.
Okay, then I'm going
Give me the hoodie. Cut the sleeves off.
All right, then that's our 5 actually. Then that would have been our 5th pick. Are you okay with having that? It would be the Packers plus 11.5 at the Bills, Washington plus 3 at the Colts, Cowboys minus 9.5 at home to the Bears, 49ers minus 1.5 at the Rams, and then Patriots minus 2.5 at the Jets.
Look at all that chalk, Pam.
I was gonna say we have never had this many favorites, but you know what? Fuck it.
I agree.
That's all you can say. That is literally all you can say. What else are we going to do? The only other options that I liked was the Giants plus 3 to the Seahawks. Dolphins
can't do it.
Half to the Lions.
I can't lay the 3 with the Seahawks either. I have a slight nod towards the Lions, but I didn't have anything definitive there that I loved by any means. Miami has been terrible as of late, and they're just so frustrating. Like Mike McDaniels, like I expected so much more of you. Now I didn't have any money in that game, but I had some really good friends of mine that laid the 7.5 with the Dolphins. And I know I'm the biggest proponent of kicking is for losers, but in the third quarter, you kick the field goal, you go up 2 scores, because guess what? 2 scores is 2 scores. And you, of all people, I expected better, Mike McDaniels. I expected better from you. I thought you were smarter than this. I was frustrated, and I had 0 American dollars on the Dolphins, but I saw the coaching blunder there, and I'm going, who told him to go for the touchdown there? And that was it. There
are 32 coaches in the NFL. How many of them can we actually say, what were you thinking? 31 of them. Name the best coach right now. Probably Brian Daboll, which is why I would want to back the Giants in any position.
I would agree. Brian Daboll has really, I mean, not only did I really enjoy him on what was it, Hard Knocks that he was on? Yeah, I enjoyed him there, but like then now seeing some of his personality and pressers, I think he's a great coach. He may win Coach of the Year, so I guess we'll see. He was kind of a longer shot, and now I believe he is second in the odds running. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't want to bet against the Giants. That's why I said I'm not laying it with the Seahawks, but I'm looking at it going, what? Why? What is happening? It was the same thing last week with your Jags.
Well, I will go ahead and say is the reason why I do like the Giants, just so we can briefly touch up on this, is it is because of Brian Dable. The halftime adjustments that he is making, he has been spectacular.
Very good point.
The Giants are scoring on 50% of their second half possessions. That is the second best in the league. And he has turned Daniel Jones into a runner. 110 rushing yards in a 23-17 win over the Jags. Now, here's the big thing that really got me going, is that what was it? Yes, you have Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones. He had 100 rushing yards last week against the Jags. But what really has me like super intrigued with the Giants is that they are a running team. That's all they do. They run. They don't pass. They don't let Daniel Jones pass. But against Baltimore, the Giants produced only 83 total rushing yards, 2.7 yards per carry, still won 24-20. Maybe you can chalk it up to some luck. I believe it's coaching.
I would agree with you. He's done an excellent job. You nailed that second half adjustments. He has been the best one in the league. Like if Giants are down at half, just take them in the second half. It's been almost automatic.
Mm-hmm. And the Seahawks, it's still a susceptible defense. So I'm going to put my trust into Brian Dable. This is probably going to end up on my other contest card. But that's our 5 then. Just to reiterate, you're good with our 5?
Absolutely.
Packers plus 11.5 at Bills. Washington plus 3 at the Colts. Cowboys minus 9.5 at home to the Bears. 49ers minus 1.5 at the Rams. And another favorite, Patriots minus 2.5 at the Jets. Those are our 5. You can follow Kelly on Twitter at KellyInVegas. You can follow me on Twitter at Pamela M35. Do make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know how much we suck lately in the last couple of weeks. Because you know what? We do. And we're not here to hide it. We're here to show all of our flaws. This is what we are here for. Showing you improvements as well. So hopefully we have a better week this time around. So if you do decide to tell any of these, good luck with your bets. Kelly, my girl, I'll see you next week.